everyone, it's Adam here, part of the Facebook group Partners Apart, my partner of 7 years, long distance. She's over in Ukraine at the moment. We haven't put an exemption application in yet, but we are more than likely going to do that in the next couple of months. I'm also an immigration lawyer, and I've been getting a lot of direct messages in my inbox since I've joined this group, and I thought I'd group those messages into topics and share some of those with you via video, because I know there's more of you out there that this content can help. So the topic I want to talk to you about tonight is for people, the scenario of a temporary visa holder that's in Australia, trying to get a temporary visa holder partner to Australia during the current climate. Now let me start off by saying that generally speaking, this is a very tough task. This is a very difficult task to try and get a temporary visa holder to Australia to join a also temporary visa holder, because generally speaking, the main argument that you're going to have, the main ground that you're going to try and get in on for the exemption application is arguing that you have compelling or compassionate reasons. And compelling compassionate reasons, it's somewhat defined, only very little bit, and I'll read it out what it says. It actually says includes the death or critical illness of a close family member. Now the word includes means that it's very much open to anything else that could possibly be compelling or compassionate. We don't have any policy on this. We don't have anything else to go by. What I am going to do is share with you an example where we've recently had success of arguing this scenario. So temporary visa holder in Australia, temporary visa holder outside of Australia, getting that person to Australia. Just because I'm going to share this example with you and tell you the evidence that we use doesn't mean you just go and copy what I say, because very much so what you do needs to be reflective of your circumstance. It needs to fit in to the story that you're putting together, that you're saying to the Department of Home Affairs or the Australian Border Force. So the scenario which I'm sharing with you, the evidence that we used, the first bit of evidence was a letter from the Australian employer. So the onshore temporary visa holder had a job in Australia, and we had a letter from the employer saying how important that person was to the organisation, and that it would hurt the organisation if that temporary visa holder had to leave Australia. That was the first thing we used. We also had a medical certificate. Now I know a lot of people were mentioning medical certificates and stuff like that on the forum. So our client actually had a long-standing anxiety or issues with anxiety, which were exaggerated by the current events, but there were records that had been around for some time. It wasn't just all of a sudden the person that's gone out and got a medical certificate saying they got anxiety for the exemption application. So we did have a medical certificate which explained the situation and went back through time to say that this was a real condition. Now the other thing that we used as a bit of evidence for this case was showing that the person that was overseas had taken considerable measures to pack up their life to come to Australia, and this included selling property, etc., sending stuff to Australia, because the couple actually had intentions of permanently moving to Australia in the future. Now, like I said, your scenario is totally your scenario. You need to know what you're saying and back that up with evidence. The most important thing with these exemption applications is that you have evidence of what it is you're trying to say, and what it is you're trying to say has to try and be compelling and compassionate somewhat. Just want to say one more thing, that these, and I'm going to say it again, I said at the beginning, getting these exemption application for a temporary visa holder to come to Australia to meet another temporary visa holder is very difficult. So I don't want you to get your hopes up by me telling you of an example that was successful and thinking we'll get this through for sure as well. It is very difficult. We are all dealing with in a difficult scenario at the moment, and I do feel for people who are continually getting rejected. Hope this was useful, and I'll be answering any more questions in this format as they come through.